What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles welcoming you to another installment of Lyles Figure Files. Almost at 1,000 subscribers. That's crazy. That's nuts. Thank you for everyone who's ever liked, watched, and especially all of you who put a comment and subscribed to the channel. It means a lot. I hope you've been enjoying the ride so far. Got so much more to come. Today I'm continuing my mid-year 2022 progress report on all these various lines that I'm collecting. Today I'm looking at McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse, and I think it's been a pretty good year, strong year, first half at least, for McFarlane, continuing to crank out really good figures, some better than others, some a better value than others, but I feel like now we're starting to see them spread out beyond the safety net of Batman and branching out, getting all these other figures in the multiverse, and that is definitely a positive sign of things to come for the rest of 2022. Now let's take a look at how he's done in these different categories. First up is availability, because it doesn't matter how cool the promo photos look. If it takes us a year to get a figure, that's not cool. I just got my processed order for my G.I. Joe Classified series, Crocmaster. I placed that sucker back in October of 21, and that was insane. I'm like, whoa, I forgot how long ago I pre-ordered this guy. That is not the case with a McFarlane Toys figure. You may maybe go as long as 2 months before seeing a figure that they post on their Instagram or they're putting out in social media in some other way before it's on your shelves. I mean, I remember very distinctly the Superwoman, and I'm like, oh, how long is this going to take? But, you know, within a couple weeks, people were reviewing it. My friends have seen it in local stores, so it's not a thing of, oh, it's just that region. They've done a really good job of making sure figures are available for everybody. I think that is so important, especially now. Gas prices are going so high, and you don't want to go out all the time on vain figure runs. And I don't think if you're collecting this line, that's really a problem, because typically everything that's out there for the masses is available. If not at the first Target to go to, then probably the second or the third one. So for that, I'm totally giving them an A+, because it's so important for figure collectors to be able to find the product in stores. Next up, it's the top 5, and this is my unofficial list. There's no particular order. It's just the ones that I think McFarlane really knocked out so far this year. To start off, I'm going with my man from Mars. It's the Martian Manhunter himself. They released, to start off, a very good contemporary version. He's got a little bit different details, specifically pants, but it's a really nice figure, and I considered getting that right up until the point where they revealed the classic version, no pants, and just the basic classic outfit. It's got a great alien head sculpt, really strong, vibrant, light green skin tone that just pops. His colors really stand out. He looks great next to the rest of the Justice League that we've gotten so far, and I think overall this is just a phenomenal figure. Couldn't ask for anything more. I think this is exactly what I would prefer to see McFarlane do for the next 5 years. Just cranking out classic versions of characters, great articulation, maybe work on the scale a little bit better, but this is it. Martian Manhunter, is exactly what I want to see from this line, and really tremendous figure. Next up is Aquaman, and he's another one, another Justice League member, again branching out beyond that safety net of Batman. And I think he's just another figure that stands out and is a, hey, if you were thinking about collecting this line, here's a figure that'll push you over the edge. Outside of the side eye, which is just a weird inclusion for a hero. That works well for Lex Luthor, not so much for him, but really well done job there. And I just love how he looks. The hair, the shirt, all the sculpted chain metal. It's not just colored and painted in. It really looks good. He's got his trident. This is Aquaman, and just another fantastic figure, and definitely one I'm getting to put up alongside my Action Comics Superman, John Stewart, and that Hal Jordan if I can track him down, and then the Detective Comics Batman. And just tremendous comic book figure, and really looks good. Next up is the Superwoman, and this figure just came, bam, we're doing Crime Syndicate figures, and this was a really well executed figure, and she looks powerful. And I think that's something that too often companies kind of shy away from. It's like, oh, we don't want to make her look too masculine. But I think they struck the perfect balance of capturing her femininity and strength, and she looks like she could knock out Superman, Wonder Woman, Shazam, Martian Manhunter, and just go for it. And all the little details like her straps, shoes, the cape, the smirk, the hair sculpt, really fantastic figure, and definitely has me excited about collecting the rest of that Crime Syndicate from McFarlane. Next up is that Man Bat, and I think if you were to consider signature McFarlane Toy character choices, Man Bat would be it. It's a monster, basically. It's a man who's a bat and has all the great gory details that he loves doing with the sculpts. He's got the fur, he's got those big wings, and they've got that thin little material to simulate the bat wings. The head sculpt is ferocious, the fangs. I mean, this is McFarlane's dream kind of figure, and they really knocked it out. And I have even more appreciation from it because my DC Classic figure, Man Bat, happened to tumble and knock over a bunch of figures the other night, and then I just took a look at it like, hey, it's a pretty good figure from DC Classics, and I can't wait to do the same, adding that Man Bat to my shelf, because I think this is a really good job for this line as well. And finally, though I get so mad every time there's another Batman figure announced, I had to put this one on there because it is an outstanding figure. It's the Batman's R&R, and this dude's colors pop every time I see it on the shelves at Target or Walmart. It's just like, this is a great looking figure. It just looks cool. The colors are crazy. The head sculpt is perfect, and they did all the details it's needed, the ragged sleeves, and it just is a really nice looking figure, and something that's kind of off the beaten path and looks really good compared to the DC Classics version, which was not as good. This is exceptional and a really strong figure, and a surprise top 5 inclusion for me. There are other candidates, and this is why this grade is going to be an A+ as well. But you had that Wally West Flash figure, the 2 variant Endless Winter takes on Batman and Wonder Woman. And I know, just do basic, stick to the comic books, but these look really good. And I thought Endless Winter was a fun storyline, and being able to get all the core characters from that event basically in one shot was really cool. And these were nice winter variant outfits for people who like theme environment looks for characters. I thought these were 2 really good ones. And then there's the Ultraman. So lots of good options. I could have done an entirely different top 5 and be pretty happy with those choices, but I like the ones I went with, my runner-ups, and I think they've also got a few more that are really good too. So for this one, I'm totally going with an A+ as well, and let's keep it rolling. Next up is the worst figure, and this is one that's kind of like, somebody's got to take it. And for me, this was an easy choice. It's the Robert Pattinson Bruce Wayne head sculpt from the Batman. It's just not a good figure, and I really don't like the fact that you had to buy a separate version to get this weak likeness. Looks too sad. He's just somber looking. I don't think they did the eye makeup really well either. The Batman figures are too bulky, not at all capturing and reflecting how Robert Pattinson looked as his take as Batman. And I just don't like the fact that you need to buy a whole different figure to get this unmasked portrait, which isn't that great. McFarlane Toys has really struggled in terms of getting actor likenesses down anyway, and I don't think you need a separate figure just to prove that fact. So for that, he's my worst figure, and I'm just going to go with the D for that, just because I don't really care about him, the head sculpt, and just whatever. And the reason why it's not an F is because you don't have to buy it. It's an option. So for that, it's just a D. And not included in with some Build-A-Figure that you have to get for no reason. The biggest announcement, I gotta say, is not a figure reveal, but McFarlane going on one of these interviews and saying female figures don't sell. I would feel a little bit better if he said that after he gave us a classic comic book Wonder Woman, Power Girl, Supergirl, Batgirl, or I guess Batgirl, Cassie, Orphan, Power Girl, so many others. Catwoman, Harley Quinn, just basic comic book versions. Instead, he's going, well, they don't sell. I'm not putting the best characters out there to prove that fact, but I'm just, from my casual thoughts, female figures don't sell. And I just feel like those would sell. If you had a Wonder Woman to put with your comic book versions of your just basic comic book versions of the Justice League, she would sell out. If you put a Catwoman based off of any of her various comic book looks, she would sell. Harley Quinn's really popular to some collectors. There are lots of different ways you could go. You could go with the Harley Quinn outfit. You could go with the more Suicide Squad take. There are lots of different versions of Harley Quinn based off of comic books that would sell. So to go, well, these movie versions of female figures don't sell, doesn't really tell this whole story. Not fair, and I don't think it's an accurate take on the state of female figures. And for that one, I've got to give my man Todd a D- on it, just because it's going against a lot of logic. And really, when I'm seeing those figures on the shelves, most of the time it's not the female figures that are hanging around for months on end. It's other ones. So that's on that one. The worst trend has to be, without a shadow of a doubt, there's still way too heavy emphasis on Batman. And I know the Batman movie kind of skews these numbers somewhat, but I lost count somewhere around 22, 23 Batman focused figures. That doesn't necessarily include characters like Nightwing or Red Hood, but just Batman and very minor Batman variants. There's too much Batman for such a wide DC universe of figures. We still don't have a complete Justice League. We haven't gotten a Cyborg. We haven't gotten a Hawkman yet. There are too many main level characters. We don't have Shazam. We don't have the rest of the Teen Titans, the classic versions, not the modern ones. No Legion, no Outsiders. There's so many characters still left to just start peeling away and bringing to us. And focusing so heavy on the one guy that DC Comics focuses on is boring. And I just wish they would expand further to tackle more of the DC universe. I know they're starting to. It's kind of like dragging McFarlane, like, come on, dude, seriously, we can do more figures. So for this one, I'm going to go with a C-, because I feel like they're making changes, but it's still way too much Batman. So when that hopefully switches out, shifts a bit more in 2022, that grade could be changed. I'm really hoping so, because figures like Martian Manhunter, Ultraman, Superwoman, Aquaman are really good indicators of what they can do when they're not so focused on Batman. Finally, the July-December outlook. It's looking pretty strong for McFarlane Toys. This is really encouraging. We've got a Build-A-Figure Atrocitus from that Blackest Night wave. I'm really excited to see a Kyle Rayner figure coming. I don't know if that's a choice of outfits I would have gone with him for his first figure, but it's a nice sign to get him into the line, hanging out with Wally, who also isn't in a matching outfit with them, but we're close to it. So those are good. That Atrocitus figure looks like it's going to be the best one they've ever made. Any company has made of Atrocitus. Big, hulking, ready to take on Green Lantern. I love that, and it really looks like a Build-A-Figure worth building, so that's always a good thing. And because they're sticking to those 4 figures, you don't have to buy 8 figures to complete it. And like, oh, here's the head. Nah, we're getting all the figure basically with 4 figures, but not basically, with 4 figures. And I love that. I love their approach to Build-A-Figures, and that's really cool. We're also getting the completed Build-A-Figure Starro from the Crime Syndicate. That's exciting to have that in a 7-inch format with this wave. And that's a cool figure you can also throw in to match up against your movie Suicide Squad. Parallax is coming. Ocean Master's coming. Asbats as well. The rest of the Crime Syndicate. So I'm really excited about where they're going to go for the rest of 2022. We still don't know how many more Batman figures are coming, but overall I think their outlook is really good. They've done a really good job in terms of expanding the lineup. Still a little bit too tight on Batman, but these figures we're getting lately with Aquaman, Ultraman, Superwoman, Parallax, Atrocitus, Kyle Rayner are showing that when they stop focusing so heavy on Batman, they're going to give us a lot of really great DC figures in this 7-inch format. A lot to be excited about for where the rest of the year is heading for McFarlane Toys. So all that said, For McFarlane Toys, their progress report grade, I'm going to give them an A-, because I think they're really doing the most important thing, having product on shelves. The figures that are really good are great figures, not too many bad figures cluttering up the ranks there. The upcoming figures are very exciting. They just need to turn the tide on their mindset of female figures, and specifically just give us the heavy hitter females figures, and then go, hey, you know what, female figures do sell. But I think if they do that, if we get Wonder Woman coming, Catwoman on the lineup soon on the books, Power Girl should be a really fun one to see. I think then McFarlane would start to change his tune on that. But overall, I think they're really doing a good job with these figures. And another cool thing, Target's has a lot of sales. McFarlane Toys has sales on their website, so you can get these guys lower than $20. And again, I don't know how I managed to forget that. This is so important as well. They've stuck to the $19.99 price point. They've not gone. They've totally resisted the urge to go $21.99, $24.99. The Build-A-Figure pieces or figures do cost $24.99, but that's totally fair because it's just a little bit more than a regular retail figure, and we don't have to get 8 figures to get a Build-A-Figure completed. But getting all of these things, all these original sculpted figures, I still think they could kind of up the ante with more accessories, but I think the sculpts are great. Articulation's improving, some figures better than others on that front. But when you just have them up there posing, they look really great. And to just pay $19.99 for it, while other lines are going up to $24.99 for basic figures that don't use original sculpts, that are basically repaints with a new head sculpt, that's really outstanding. So McFarlane Toys 100% earns this A-, and I think if Wonder Woman gets added, I could see shifting that up to A+. And depending on how Starro turns out, Atrocitus turns out, it's going to be an A++. But I really think if you're into this line, they've done right by you as a customer, and the outlook for 2022 looks really strong. So looking forward to seeing what else they do, and I'll be back very soon with more progress reports. Thank you as always for watching. This episode of Louse Figure Files has been filed.